Good day, Ruskin Endurers. I hope you're doing alright, because it's time for the predictions video. Yes, just a good few hours ago, all of these skins rotated into the Rust store, so get a good look at all of them, because we're going to go ahead and try and figure out which of these skins potentially might be the best investment this week, which of these skins potentially might give us some of those sweet, delicious looking profits. So before we start talking about all the individual skins, I just want to talk about something that's been taking place over the past month. Ever since like the first Rust store rotation of November, get a good look at this. We saw a very decent amount of sales. I'm looking more specifically at the likes of the subscriber count, the bare minimum sales. Very close to around 20,000 sales, all the top four there. It does, drop off a fair bit, but you can see that was a perfectly normal Rust store. But the week after that, we started to notice, after the first two skins, it drops off pretty quickly. And all the sales that we see here gets really low. And then you look at last week, and it's basically reached to a point where we're struggling to see skins do over 10,000 sales. So keep this in mind. With the current week, I'm kind of expecting very low sales. And I've said this many times in the past, but if a certain skin doesn't really sell that much, and there just so happens to be a sudden increase in demand in the future, well, all the better for that to rise up in price. I do say it a lot, but with what I've seen over the past few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that much sales for all of these skins. So for everything that I say today in regards to the skins that I'm confident in, just know that there's a fairly decent chance that the amount of sales that we will have by next week is going to be very low compared to the amount of people that play the game and whatnot. So just be aware that, it's almost January time. We're about 6 weeks away, and we are getting closer to post-Christmas. We are expecting a nice increase in player count, much like what we saw last year. See how it dropped off late last year, September, October, November time. When we get to December, average player count 85,000. By January, 95,000. We're expecting basically the exact same thing. And in the current position that we're in, it's kind of lining up to be exactly the same way. So just take this into consideration. With low sales in just about 6 weeks' time, I wouldn't be surprised if all of these skins probably turn out to be quite alright. But the ones I'm going to talk about in more confidence are the ones I honestly do feel like are going to be a lot better off. Sounds good? So now that you understand that, be aware, all right? And you don't have to rush into anything. You can still take your time with everything, but just keep an eye on the sales. Sounds good? Let's move on. So now I'm going to actually jump in and talk about the skins I feel most confident in. And I want to jump straight in and talk about the Desert Beast Burlap clothing, both the shirt and the pants. So let's just get this established. We don't see that many Burlap clothing skins whatsoever. If I show you all the shirt skins, as you look over to here, we had quite a gap. But, not a single skin was accepted in 2022. Scroll down a fair bit more. There isn't that much. Now, again, there's a lot of older skins, and they didn't sell that much, and they're fairly expensive. Not insanely, but you know what I mean. You understand what I mean. But anyway, over to here. Just this year, we've had 2 shirt and pants skins. The one that we received earlier this year, back in January, was the Arctic Protection clothing collection. And that flourished. That did very, very well. And let me just explain everything in regards to that. And you will probably feel confident a whole lot more with the likes of the Desert Beast. So, Arctic collection, here we go. And the first thing you're going to notice is there's many skins that are accepted. And technically speaking, you got a full primitive collection right there. You've got the likes of the poncho. You've got the burlap shirt and pants, and of course you've got burlap shoes and a head wrap. Now, for the early game, that's probably some very, very good camouflage to have, especially with like burlap and whatnot. But you got to understand, we haven't seen any more burlap shirt and pants until now. We've hardly seen any head wraps, and no, we haven't seen any other burlap shoes. But there was no competition. People like it. People appreciate it, and gradually, over time, this has hardly struggled. In fact, I don't think these skins went below their Rust store price. They have been appreciated. Over the past year, they've just been slowly, gradually increasing in price. Now, as we get closer to post-Christmas, I am seeing these trend upwards a lot more better. And by, in about 6 weeks' time, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if that doubles in price. So yeah, you've got a full collection there. There's a great usage behind it. People like it, there is demand, and when more people return to play the game, there will be more demand, and of course the price will go up. Not too hard to understand. Good. Right. So now we take a look at the likes of the Desert Beast Burlap shirt. First things first, we should question how many sales will we potentially reach. So if you go over and look at the likes of the Arctic Burlap shirt again real quickly, that did like 35,000 bare minimum sales back in January. That is a lot. But even then, still in the positive. Still did perfectly fine. No issues. I haven't seen this go below its Rust store price at all, really. So, that did all right. Again, the pants are basically the exact same thing. They have been appreciated, the price has done well, and it looks like it's only going to keep on increasing. So, at the current rate, do you reckon both the Desert Beast Burlap shirt and pants, do you reckon they're going to sell an absurd amount at this current time in November? I just had a whole talk at the very beginning talking about how I don't expect that many sales with all of these skins. So do you understand now? Things are looking very promising for that Desert Beast Burlap set. And now you should also take into consideration that, yes, we do have some skins that are already accepted before. We had the bandana and the poncho, and of course, spike in advance, spike in price when new pieces have been accepted. So we potentially could see a brand new primitive collection being produced. Who knows what potentially might come next, but you know what you can do? Keep an eye on the workshop. You could even hop onto the pages, the workshop pages for the Desert Beast skins, and you could hop in the comment section and say, hey, 19J, congratulations, but what are you going to make next? What do you reckon? Or you could offer some suggestions. Do you want to see some burlap head wraps? Do you want to see a boonie hat? Do you want to see some burlap shoes? Do you want to see hide clothing? Suggest it to them. Give them ideas. But, be nice, polite, concise, straight to the point. You know what I'm on about. You know what I normally say. So, yeah, I'm sure that we will definitely be seeing something fairly soon. But you also had to take into consideration, how many rush stores do we have until Christmas time? So we're going to go take a look at the calendar. So here we are. We're currently, for me, it's the 24th of November. But next week and December 7, those are the only rush stores that we have left until we have Christmas rush stores. December 14 and December 21. We have New Year's rush stores, but that's just basically a normal rush store. But I'm sure you can understand that I can't imagine. Well, okay, there's a fairly decent chance if some if some primitive Desert Beast skins are produced at least this weekend, there's a decent chance we could see it over the course of the next two rush stores. I wouldn't doubt that. I think that's a fairly decent chance. But if we don't see them instantly, then there are those people out there that demand instant gratification and demand to see a sequel accepted immediately. So that could be a fair bit awkward. All right. So take that into consideration. We only really have two opportunities, and then we'll end up with 2 or 3 weeks where we're only going to see winter Christmas themed skins. So you shouldn't be surprised by that. So maybe 19J, the skin creator, maybe he's going to take his time. Maybe he's not going to immediately rush it out. And at the very least, you should acknowledge that 19J is one of the only people who got a full primitive collection made this year. He's behind the pirate collection. So, we got the poncho, the hide clothing, the hide boots, the bandana. Yeah, all the batch. Very nice, very cool. People liked it. It's doing well at the moment. It'll do even better around January time, that's for sure. So, yeah. You should feel confident in this. Things are lining up where this whole collection is looking to be pretty good. And, let's go give it a proper look in game. Do you like that? Do you reckon it blends in nicely with the desert, a background, biome and whatnot? Arctic collection did very nicely for its specific role, in which in the early game, you get some quick clothing produced. You can blend in very nicely in the rocky areas of the Arctic biome and whatnot. So, is that good enough? Maybe in some shade, you're perfectly fine. At the end of the day, do you like the whole set regardless? Do you think it looks cool? Do you reckon that's something you'd like to wear? So, for your consideration. But at the very least, I can't imagine this is going to sell as much as the Arctic Burlap set. So things are looking okay. But at the very least, you should make some comparisons to the rest of Desert Beast. The poncho didn't sell that much. Bandana did all right. This only did 11,750 bare minimum sales. This did 16,300 bare minimum sales. If this reaches at least 20,000 sales, I think that would be okay for it. If it does less, oh God. So, this is why I had to mention that whole talk at the very beginning of this video. I don't expect a stupidly high amount of sales. Now, if we do all right, that would be cool. That would be nice. But I get the feeling people are saving their money. And like I said, when we see potentially many people return to play the game, well, things are going to look very nice in the future, which will be in about 6 weeks' time, because it'll be January, post-Christmas time. So yeah, I don't feel like I need to say anything else. The only issue is both of those skins are not abnormal. You will have to consider buying them. Now, at the very least, if you're a fair bit cautious, wait until Wednesday. Look at the sales then. Make a consideration then. At the very least, I'll be streaming on Wednesday. I'll be doing my abnormal barter stream. But we also sit there and talk about what prices we might want to offer for the regular skins as well. And I'll be honest with you, if the sales are fairly low, I'm probably just going to jump in and buy some. Because I honestly don't think we will be seeing any more Burlap clothing skins being accepted anytime soon. And yes, you might sit and say, but surely other skin creators might produce some Burlap skins. Let me tell you, I've been looking at the workshop throughout all of this year. I've seen many interesting Burlap hide clothing skins being produced and submitted to the workshop, and they were all neglected or turned down. Like Facepunch didn't accept them. I've seen many, but Facepunch didn't accept them until now. So, do you feel more confident? Do you feel like, yeah, everything should be perfectly fine? Cool. So take that all into consideration. That Desert Beast Burlap set, that primitive set is looking pretty good. It's looking like a pretty good investment. Thumbs up. All right, understood? All good? Shall we jump in and start talking about something else? So I'll be honest with you, that was the only 2 skins that I was like confident in. I'm going to have to be a fair bit iffy now with the other skins. Like, I can't sit here and say with as much confidence that all of these other skins are going to be just as good. All right, so we got that established. Let's just jump in straight up by default. We got a brand new set called the Damascus Tier 3 set here, or Damascus Clothing and Armor potentially. So this is a brand new set, and by default, if we do see Tier 2 and hoodie and pants being produced and potentially accepted in the future, yes, these will spike in demand, spike in price. That is something everybody should be fully well aware of. But we don't fully know if that's definitely going to happen in terms of, like, will we see the other skins being accepted? Awkward, I know, but you have to be a bit realistic with this. And again, if this doesn't sell that much, maybe Facepunch probably isn't super confident in it. Awkward, I know, but you understand how I have to point out and say, if it's a brand new collection, keep an eye out. Keep an eye on the workshop. You have to. And see, has anyone mentioned anything? Has anybody... No comments there yet. Well, there was a hoodie and pants produced. I will point that out. But that was a version 2. Like, we don't know. At least maybe we'll see Tier 2 being produced potentially fairly soon. You have to keep an eye on the workshop. I'm sorry, but yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, there's been some attempts before. Didn't see those skins accepted. There's a fairly decent chance we probably only end up with the Tier 3. What about the chest plate? Is that got any comments? Oh, it's got 1. I can't read that. So yeah, feel free to jump in and ask, hey guys, you going to make Tier 2 a hoodie and pants anytime soon? Or we already got the hoodie and pants, but I guess you could ask about Tier 2. You understand. So it's awkward, but I'll keep an eye out for what happens over the course of the weekend. And well, it's abnormal. Both of those skins are abnormal. And I will also point out, like, get a good look at the actual skins themselves. Like, look at this, look at in-game. So, we did just have the full set of the hard suit collection being completed, didn't we? We got the final core piece. It was all nice and metallic. Well, that's all nice and metallic. With, a little bit more detail in regards to its design on the chest plate and the face mask. Get a good look at that face mask. So, what do you reckon? Do you appreciate the design? That might be nice, but will everybody else? You do have to be aware of everybody else. If everybody else doesn't care for it, well, then you have to question, is that even going to be a good investment then? So, no need to rush into anything. Take our time. We'll look at it Wednesday, and then we'll make a decision what we're going to do. All right? So, understood? But by all means, if you happen to like a skin, you think it looks really cool, buy it. Support the skin creators. Keep them motivated to keep wanting to making nice skins in the future. But we're obviously looking at this with the financial perspective. We have to question, do we actually want to jump in and buy maybe 50 of these or 100, potentially try and flip them for a profit? Well, like I said, if you're trying to look, trying to make a profit out of anything, take your time. Don't rush. And we can take our time, especially with the abnormal skins. Understood? Cool. Right, so you can understand why I'm iffy on that. And I'm also iffy on the likes of the Neon Vibe Sheepman door. See, we got the garage door accepted not too long ago, and, well, this came after it, so that spiked in demand and spiked in price. Not by much, though. There was hardly any of these on the Steam market, so this only sold like 10 or 15 today. Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, we've seen hardly any sales over the past month, and that's led to very low listings. So, it's odd. It's weird. Yeah, I know. But, like, this is doing okay. And when I looked at that skin a good, couple weeks ago, I made a big point saying that straightforward neon designs for garage doors do very nicely. If you go look at all the most expensive garage doors, you'll notice many of them, a decent portion of them, are neon, straightforward neon designs. I'm sure it's not too hard to understand. Look at Outer Planets. Look at the very cool looking Tiger Lunar New Year garage door and whatnot. Very straightforward. Nothing wrong with that, and people clearly appreciate it. So that's doing all right, but we have to look at Sheepman Doors because that doesn't that whole gimmick there doesn't work with sheet metal doors. If I take a look and see all the skins that have come out, like from highest price, we'll go from there, yep. So highest price, well, if I scroll up a fair bit, you've got Evil Heart Door, that's a straightforward design. But then you've got Going Deep Sheet Metal Door, which is like down by 20%. I scroll down a fair bit more, you've got the likes of the Airlock Door, down by 9%. That's a fair bit awkward. Scroll down a little bit more. Outer Planet Sheet Metal Door, down 25%. Oh no. Neon Carrot Door, well, that's an Easter theme skin. But then you've got Neon Cactus Metal Door there, down 44%. So I will sit here and say that straightforward, like, neon gimmick doesn't seem to work with sheet metal doors. People just don't seem to appreciate sheet metal doors, and I'm not surprised because there's far too many of them in existence. So we go by newest. Take a look at all the sheet metal doors that came out this year, and you can see for yourself that, yeah, they're not doing too good. Abyss is doing all right, part of a well-established collection, and then you look at the likes of Frontier Rustic Door, well, you know, it's a transparent sheet metal door. Yeah, Brutalist is actually evens at the moment, but yeah. I think with a smart buy order, we can still make a very nice profit, but yeah, that'll be the answer. Again, we can also keep an eye on the sales. It's abnormal. Don't need to rush into it. We can look at it Wednesday, but I can still see potential with it, because if you take a look at the workshop, so if we go over to here and look at the most recent skin Diaz produced, Diaz is actually pumping out some very cool looking deplorable skins. Could we potentially have a brand new deplorable collection in the future? And, you know, nice, colourful blue interior there. Very nice neon design. Maybe we've got something very interesting ahead of us. So again, if we see a brand new deplorable collection slowly rolling out, all the better for the earlier skins that came out, because they tend to rise up in price the most. Understood? Cool. So now you can understand why it potentially could be a very nice positive. Right, awesome. So, next thing that I'm somewhat interested in, but I can't really go, like, insane over, it will be the Abyss AR. So, the Abyss collection is becoming a proper full-fledged big fat collection. I'm talking like the No Mercy collection. I'm talking like Tempered collection. Those collections have deplorables, clothing and armor, and weapons. And, well, we just got the first weapon for the Abyss collection. And I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be many, many more. So, everything here, that's looking pretty good at the moment. Maybe not this, but yeah, the amount of sales that this had in comparison to the other core pieces, not too surprising. We've already talked about that, but we need to talk more specifically about this. So, here's a problem. We've had far too many AKs this year, haven't we? I've explained this many times, but for like $3, which is the price it's currently at, it's immediately one of the more expensive AKs, and I'm not joking. So, as you can see, we've got 227 of these AKs, but if you go by highest price, you'll see it's in the upper quarter. Yeah. So, for the same price, you could actually buy some of these other AKs nearby, or slightly a little bit more of a higher price. You can buy these instead. You understand how that's probably what most people do. They'd rather look around and see, well, you know, I could buy this instead and whatnot. But yeah, at the end of the day, the main issue with the likes of AKs is the fact that there's always another AK. That seems to be doing quite all right at the moment. We'll see what happens now that this has been it's been accepted. But yeah, over the past like 5 weeks, it's been an acceptance, an acceptance, an acceptance, an acceptance, an acceptance, an acceptance. This is what AKs are like. So this is why normally I'd sit here and say, well, you know what? I don't think I want to go anywhere near that. But with this Abyss AR and the fact that it's part of a well-established collection, I can see it managing. I can see it retaining some value. And I mentioned this earlier in my Rustle rotation stream, but I'll say it again. Little Ranger is very reliable because he's been around for a very long time, and yes, he can produce many, 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 many interesting skins. He is the skin creator with the second most acceptances out of all the skin creators, and as you can see, he's been making some very interesting collections over the past few years. And as you can see, there's a variety of weapon skins all over the place. So this is where I want to make a reference to the likes of the Dragon Rage collection, because Dragon Rage collection was already fully well established, and then an AK was produced. So let's go take a look at that. Let's go take a look at Dragon Rage. There we are. So he also produced this collection. As you can see, we have the likes of the clothing and armor, then we have the AK. And yes, you might immediately notice that that AK isn't actually doing super great at the moment. Well, this whole collection wasn't doing super great when the Pirate collection was accepted. See, it basically stole the Dragon Rage's funder, if you will. Basically, this used to be the go-to budget blackout option, but then Pirate came out, and that was cheaper, and then everybody looked at that instead. Awkward, I know, but at the very least, you can look at this you can look at this skin's first year as a skin on the Steam market, and you can see or notice that there's a fairly noticeable pattern. We'll just go down here and you can see it for yourself. So it comes out in May. During the summer, it goes back up a fair bit, down for the autumn-fall seasonal dip, but it rises up ever so nicely as we reach post-Christmas time, all the way up to about $4. This was a $3.49 skin, all right? But as you can see, whilst it obviously suffered during the bad times, it went up ever so nicely during the good times. I get the feeling that the Abyss AR is going to probably behave the exact same way. It's probably not going to immediately do super great, but, regardless, post-Christmas momentum, it'll still go up in price. But it might not go up insanely, because, you have to be aware that AK right here, it's selling for $3, and that's already somewhat of a high price. And like I said, it's already technically in the upper quarter for most expensive AKs, as silly as that sounds. So, yeah, based on the unsurety of many AKs always tend to suffer, and there's always going to be another AK being accepted, I can still imagine it goes below its rust-store price. But maybe it doesn't sell that much. Maybe it barely does 10,000 sales. All the better for it to rise up in price. I've said it again. There you go. But I wouldn't be surprised if we keep seeing more Abyss skins being made. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep being accepted. But there will probably be a bit of a limit. So at the very least, just keep an eye out. Keep an eye on the workshop. I hope to see an Abyss rock. That would be pretty funny with all the teeth and whatnot. But yeah, there's some good things ahead of it. And I don't imagine there's going to be anything else like this. You take one good look and you see the cool looking teeth design. It's scary, it's pointy, it's sharp, and, well, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be appreciating this when it's January time. And you know what? All of the clothing and armour as well. Because, look at it. And the deployables. Throughout all of this year, the deployables have done very well in terms of retaining their value. So this whole collection's looking pretty optimistic for January time. So yeah, you can understand why I'm both not sure about it, but also somewhat confident in it. So I've got that all nice and established. That's nice. That's cool. Awesome. So it's up to you what you do. Are you going to stick with doing a buy order, or are you going to actually jump in and buy it? Well, at the very least, that AK is abnormal. So I just want to point that out. It is abnormal. We don't need to rush into buying it. So you can let it cook. You can see how many sales happen. Then we can see what happens next. We can consider next Wednesday. Right, so we got 3 skins left, basically, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not that confident in them. I do like the idea of the hay sleeping bag. I think role players could appreciate that, especially people pretending to be farmers and whatnot. If we get a hay rug, that actually might be a nice combination, because we have the small box, like the hay bales, and you got the sleeping bag, so, sleeping on hay. So I can see some potential things there, but I just can't imagine people are going to go super crazy for it. We shall see, all right? When you look at the likes of the Thanksgiving turkey furnace, well, unfortunately, it's kind of gimmicked towards one very specific holiday, and it's already past that holiday. But at the very least, when you look at it, it does look very goofy. I can see some goofy things going on with that. I can see people appreciating the goofy design. But I just can't imagine it's going to be doing super great, especially when you look at all the furnaces that came out this year. One quick look, and what do you see? The vast majority in the negative. It is unfortunate, but yeah. And we've had some pretty cool looking furnaces come out this year that were also goofy. Pug furnace, alien furnace, capybara furnace, frog furnace. We've had plenty of goofy ones. They're in the negative. It's unfortunate. And then solely to SAR, unfortunately, you take a look at all the SAR skins that came out this year. What do you see? The vast majority in the negative, except a few which are fairly standout. Chameleon SAR and Redemption SAR have done pretty well in regards to retaining their value, part of well-established collections that people like. And Arctic Skull SAR will only keep increasing in price because it's the budget option in comparison to the Comic SAR, which right now is selling for $12.50. A little bit too expensive for most people. That's why they look at this one over here, because it's like 5 times cheaper. So yeah. With that, that's probably just going to be a 70 cent to 90 cent buy order. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's pretty likely to end up like that. But the main thing that we have to be concerned about is how much will all of this sell? Because it might look like it's selling quite all right at the moment, but much like the skins from the past week, we didn't have a single skin do over 5,000 sales last week with the last week's batch. I wonder if we see that happen all over again. If that's the case, I'm expecting very low sales for all of these. All right? So I've got to wait many more hours, but we shall see. Keep an eye on all of this. But things are looking somewhat interesting. And January is just around the corner. So be prepared for that. And I should also point out one extra thing to you. So we actually have some Twitch drops on the horizon. We have, of course, the Twitch Rivals event taking place in December, between December 11th to the 15th. So be prepared for that. These apparently, well, I think the Hazmat potentially might be a Twitch drop. We have no proper confirmation at the moment. But there is this special desktop that's being given away. And, well, I'll link this in the description, much like what I did for my Rust or rotation video. But you have to go watch someone streaming that was chosen to have this Twitch drop, and you have to gift 2 subs, which is nice for the streamer, but yeah, if you're looking at it and thinking, I could do that, or I like that, or I could, I'd like to see that in my base, yeah, you've got to give 2 subs to people. Or, someone who has chosen to have it as a Twitch drop. So, it might be me potentially. If I do have it, I'd be very grateful to any people who do consider, donating 2 subs. Just point it out. But yeah, just wants to make sure that you're fully well aware on how to receive this. And I will link this in the description of this video. And so best of luck to each and every single one of you with your investments and whatnot. And we're almost there, all right? Next week, Christmas skins, that's when the demand starts. We're going to start selling them. We're going to make some pretty sweet looking profits. I am looking forward to this, and I hope you also enjoy it as well. Best of luck to all of you and all of your investments. The good times are literally just around the corner. One more week to go. So I'll catch you later. See you and goodbye.